Welcome everyone to another episode of 10K Movies. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tom and JD. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing great. How you doing, JD?
Can be better.
I was in between what I wanted to say there. How's the night? How are you doing? Yeah, well, we got to the same end goal.
Yeah. I know last time we were talking about coming up, I think we're 2 weeks away, I guess, of seeing Oppenheimer, and Tommy's glasses kind of made me think of it too. But I know, Tom, you were saying it as well
Blue
that
light.
I know saying it as well that this is. I mean, we're all hyped for sure, just because we're fans of obviously movies, but also Nolan's. But seems like just the general audience is pretty hyped for this one. I mean, just like with the media tours and everything, and a Barbie, I guess too, because they're coming out the same day. But I know you posed a question to us beforehand, and wanted to kind of get into that if you want to let the people in on it.
Yeah, I went and saw a movie Saturday, and there was a little teaser for Oppenheimer in there, and pretty much like you said, Ryan, I was just thinking like this movie is so hype, like across the board. So I was just trying to think of like what in my lifetime, like the most excited or like highly anticipated movies. For me, like for theaters. And JD had a good point. Like I feel like we have to break it out in two categories, like the franchise movies as well as like the standalones, because the franchise ones naturally gather, a lot more attention just because they have like the predecessors, like, because for me, initially comes to mind are like the Avengers. Like I'm not the biggest Avengers fan in the world, but I remember seeing like Infinity War, and I remember that being super, super hyped, as well as like Dark Knight Rises and Harry Potter 7 Part 2. Um, so those are probably my answers for like the franchise ones, but curious to see what you guys have. And I can think of like my standalone ones too, but what comes to mind for you guys for like most anticipated movies?
I think for franchises, you already brought up so like Avengers, so like Infinity War blew my mind, and then I had Endgame circled on the
Yeah,
calendar for like
right.
2 years, so like
Yeah.
the
Yep.
anticipation for that just built and built. And
hmm
then also, I think I already told you guys this, but Star Wars, I didn't see any of the trilogies growing up, so I watched them all after they were being released. So when the newest trilogy was coming out, Episode 7, I was so pumped, finally a Star Wars fan, gonna see it in theaters. It was all right, but but I think that was my most anticipated. I love the Harry Potters, but I wasn't as anticipated for those as I was Star Wars or Endgame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. I was pretty hyped for the last Harry Potter just because it was like they broke it up in two parts, and I mean, you kind of knew like the last scene of 7 part 1 was Dobby dying, so you knew like shit was about to go down,
Yeah,
and it did. Like 7 part 2 is incredible because it's just action from scene one basically.
and I blame Harry Potter
Um,
for all the part one, part twos that we get at the end of every series now. They started
that's
it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
true. That's
Them
tough.
or them or Twilight, I can't remember.
I think
Um,
Twilight came out like right after that.
that could be. Um, but yeah, I think Dark Knight Rises was up there for me too, just because of how good Dark Knight was.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, Ryan, what do you got? I mean, I feel like Star
Yeah,
Wars might crack the list here too.
for sure. Star Wars. I mean, like, I think franchises just naturally get more hype anyway. But yeah, for me, Star Wars a couple different times. Like, I remember seeing the first prequel in theaters, but I was still pretty young for that, so I didn't remember like getting hyped up for it. But I was hyped for Revenge of the Sith, which was the third one for that, and I got to skip school that day to go see it, so it was pretty sweet. So that was hype. And then also when the Force Awakens came out, was awesome. I remember just that trailer was so sick. That was probably my favorite trailer
that
ever that I
trailer was
can
nice.
remember. Yeah. And the Phantom Menace, for as not good of a movie it was, maybe the best poster of all
I'd agree
time.
with
I
that.
love that poster. So yeah, Star Wars for sure. I was late to the Harry Potter game, so I wasn't like as hyped as I'm sure you guys were for that.
So fun.
Obviously Avengers, but more so Endgame, because that's when, you know, obviously it was all ending and or supposed to end, I guess. But at least with like some of the main characters, so that was insane. I think that was the best like movie experience I can remember, just like feeding off of the other people. But I was trying to think back to some that aren't franchises. Ironic, I have two. One actually came out, I think, this past year or the year before. I think it was last year. But the other one I was thinking of was Interstellar, which ironically is another Nolan one,
Interstellar's mine.
'cause that was huge. Of like, one, obviously, like no one's gonna get a lot of attention for it, but like that was when I think we were in college, and like I
Freshman year
know
of college.
this one guy on our floor like just nonstop talked about it. He's like, gotta see it. And I was like, I mean, it was like, I like it for sure. I still think I'm too dumb for it, but it was like one of those like spectacle movies where like gotta see it on like the biggest screen as possible and all that. So I think that would be my number one that I can just think off the top of my head, non-franchise. And then the other one I was thinking of was a huge letdown. Was Don't Worry, Darling. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No,
Because
Did
I
not.
remember
I think I told you I
came-
turned it off like halfway through.
I think so, yeah. So I remember seeing the idea for it coming out because Olivia Wilde, I think, directed that. She also directed Booksmart, which is kind of like the female version of Superbad. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys ever saw that, but I
Never
really
saw
like
it,
that
know of it.
movie.
I like Booksmart.
Yeah, it's really good. So I was like, oh, like she like this is her, I think her second one. So since that, which I think was like 3 years ago, and like the idea sounded sweet. It was a good cast. I liked the trailer a lot because it seemed like it was like a mystery thriller type thing, and then it was just like a terrible, terrible movie. But yeah, those are the two I was thinking of. I don't know if you guys had any others. I know JD said Interstellar as well.
Yeah, Interstellar was mine. Mainly because, like you said, Nolan was getting a lot of hype, and like I was shortly after like Dark Knight Rises, and then also the guy on the floor. I remember they got back from it, and I was seeing it the next night, like, dude, it changed my life. And I was like,
Yeah.
that might be a little too much, but yeah, Interstellar was mine. I was so pumped to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I was not in on that hype. Must not have got to me, but for me, like I feel like I do have a lot, but if you have to narrow it down to like what I was most excited for, I think they were both like comedies. I feel like when we talked about it at one point, I think JD, you and I were both kind of saying like high school was when we started really getting back into like going to the theater, or because we had we first got like our license and stuff. And for me, I feel like they were both comedies. I remember one that was so hyped and I was so excited for it was Ted.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
good. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good one.
That was literally billed as like the funniest movie of all time, and it was good.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it really was good. I think anytime, and this is why I'm trying not to get too ecstatic for Oppenheimer, is like anytime you go into anything in life as like this is gonna be the greatest moment of my life, it can't measure up. So
Yeah.
but the times you go in and you're just kind of chilling, and then it is awesome. It's a much better experience. But that was one, and then I think later on, probably like either later that summer, or a couple months later, was This Is the End.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was a good
Yeah.
so hyped for that just because of the cast alone. It had like every comedic actor in it.
If you were in comedy at all at some point in the last decade, you were in that movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they all died in like the opening scene, and it ended up just being like
Yeah.
Danny McBride, like Craig Robinson movie. I'm
All
like,
playing like
you
themselves.
fucking kidding me?
Which is
Yeah,
hilarious.
like if this was just billed as like a Danny McBride, Craig Robinson, James Franco movie, I would not have been that excited. And that's basically what it was. It was still funny. It was still pretty
Yeah.
good, but again, I was just had those expectations of like these are gonna be like 30 comedians, actors. It's gonna be mayhem. And first scene was for sure mayhem, but yeah, it did not live up to the hype in my opinion.
That movie does have one of my favorite quotes. Well, I shouldn't say one of my favorites, but I love saying it. She's like, "Hey God, it's me, Jonah Hill from Moneyball."
From Moneyball.
Yeah.
So that's one of my coworkers quotes that movie all the time. It's I think it's McLovin. No, it's Evan Sarah. Or Michael Cera.
Michael
who
Cera,
plays Evan. That's why. And he's like, he comes up, he's like, "Does Coke smell funny?" Goes in his face.
Yeah, he did not last
Uh,
long.
But
No.
speaking of like highly anticipated movies, tell me, I think Harry Potter Part 2, and tell me if like you guys have been to one more recently. That was my last true midnight movie, I think. Like I cuz
Mine was Dark Knight Rises.
Dark
But
Knight
yeah,
Rises,
actually
agree.
I went to that
Those are
one
my
too.
last. Those
I
are my
think we
only
were
two
all-
midnight
I think we
shows.
went
we were
together
all
to that one,
together,
right?
We all
yeah.
went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
okay,
was the
so
last
it was
one I
Dark Knight.
remember.
But then after that, it started
No,
coming
I
out like
thought we all
Thursday at
went to
9
Dark Knight
o'clock.
Rises.
Yeah, that's
No,
what I
Dark
meant.
Knight Rises is the last
Yeah,
one.
we all went.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. After that, they just went to like started on Thursday.
Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
go like 8, 9,
Dude, there's a
10,
Wednesday. I
11.
think
It's like
the
Black Friday shopping. It used to be
Yeah.
midnight after Thanksgiving. Now there's like starts like 2 days before
I
Thanksgiving.
think the
Yeah.
Mission Impossible
It's like a
comes out
week.
tomorrow on
Yeah.
Wednesday. So
Yeah, they're
it's
starting to
like,
do Wednesdays
you
now.
kidding me?
It's gonna be Monday
So
in a couple
stupid.
years.
It's gonna start getting back all the way around
Yeah.
to where it comes out like
It's on
Saturday,
Friday.
the
Yeah.
It's gonna
Friday
go back to where it
before.
starts on Friday again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years.
It's gonna
That's
say it comes out
crazy.
like July 14th, when it comes out July 7th instead.
Yeah. I think they do that because I don't know, but I also want to go back to Ted really quick because there's a funny story on how we saw that. But
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think they do it because like you get, they go for like the weekend numbers or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
but like they just
Yeah.
like stretch it with like say it still opens on the weekend, but hey, it's actually coming out Wednesday or Thursday. Like
That's
that
true.
counts towards it. I don't know if it does. I mean, I would assume it does.
I would
count
say it
towards
does.
I think it's definitely about like manipulating the numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
because
is
then it's like,
bullshit.
Break
opening
records
weekend.
and shit.
Yeah, opening weekend box office did 60 million, but it was 4 days longer than every other box office a decade ago.
Especially like a franchise with crazy amount of fans, like the
Mhm.
diehards, like for like a Star Wars or whatever, like I would be there as soon as it would open.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna get even more. So it is kind of cheating the system. But
Yeah.
the Ted story, me and Tom actually saw that together when it came out, and I think we were only 16 or 17
We
at the
were,
time. You had
yeah.
to be,
I think we
or
were 16.
you had to be 17.
Yeah, to go to a
And
rated R movie.
yeah, this first like we got denied, and we're like, oh, or we're like, where's your ID or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's in the car, I'll go get it. So
Yeah.
obviously, we didn't get the ticket, so we had to get some random guy to buy us tickets to see an R-rated movie, which is just bizarre. It's like trying to get us to buy like beer or something.
By
But
beer, yeah.
yeah, it turns out it was the coach of not rival, but like a school we play in sports, and our buddy that we all know that you guys went to elementary school with threw a no-hitter against some baseball like a week before or something. So
Yep.
it was crazy, but
That was wild. I forgot about that.
I just can't believe that we had to do that at some point. But I mean, that was the only
I
time I
know.
had to do it.
That's
but
absolutely
it's just, like,
scandalous.
can't believe. Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Busted.
enough time has passed where they're not going to track us down. But
Statute of limitation.
yeah,
Still can't go
Yeah.
back.
yeah. And the movie theater went to like not very tight on security, I would say, or like
Right.
anything like that. But
That's why
Yeah,
it's more
some-
shocking that we even got denied.
Yeah.
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can't
It's
surprise
crazy.
it.
Like I
surprised
don't
they cared at
think that
all.
happens today. Like no one's
No.
IDing for movies now. I mean,
I
unless
know.
you're like obviously,
Like 14.
yeah, or like
Yeah.
maybe 10. Like
Maybe you guys were obviously really young.
I was gonna say maybe we looked
yeah,
we looked
maybe,
like kids. I think we were with one of our friends, JP.
yeah,
Oh, that
No.
doesn't help.
yeah,
That reminds me, like, because I went to I saw No Hard Feelings this weekend, which was rated R, and I'm pretty sure somewhere when I was like reserving the tickets, it was like, make sure you bring your ID.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
I didn't think of the Ted story, but that is funny because it's just like, who the fuck would ever ID? Like I was like, who is
Yeah.
IDing
Yeah.
that all these people in here are 18 or 17
Well,
or whatever?
also like nowadays you can buy it ahead of time.
Right,
So
online.
if you really just wanted to, like your parents can buy it for you, and then they're not going to check it at the.
No, once you have the ticket, you
As
you
far
They
as I
just
know, like,
scan
I
it,
doubt it.
Yeah.
right? I mean,
And most of the
Also,
time it's like a
yeah.
high school work.
like
anyway.
literally what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah,
They
they're
don't
not
give
gonna be
a-
like, hey, buddy.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
That also reminds me when I saw the movie this weekend, like I thought I had mastered the seat where like going alone that no one sits by me. It's very back row, second seat, like from the end.
From the
So
corner.
like back in the corner. Second time in a row, someone has sat directly next to me.
What I like to do when I
Really?
go
Was
alone
the
is
rest of
Mhm.
like theater full?
Dude, it was pretty damn full. Like I couldn't
Oh,
believe it.
okay.
Like most like Spider-Man when I went was pretty full. Creed when I went was pretty full, but like I didn't think No Hard Feelings gonna be full. But this guy, he came in and he was like 5 minutes late. He sat right next to me. He's like, "What's up?" I was I was supposed to say hello. Like,
Hi.
how are you, sir?
Yeah.
But
When I
it ended
saw
up being
No Hard
cool because me and him were dying laughing at all the same parts, so it
Yeah, you
You
worked
guys are best
out.
friends
But
now.
yeah, it's funny. Like, what's up?
When
Like,
I was gonna say I haven't
how
been
are
to
ya?
a movie with more than like 20 people in the theater in quite some time. Like
I was
I guess I
shocked,
haven't
dude.
gone on like a premiere night in a little bit, but
Yeah,
like yeah, I came in
I
like
was shocked that it was damn near full. Like,
and that's been out for a couple weeks. I feel
I think
like
at
maybe
least
just
at least
one
at
or
least
Two or
two,
three.
two, at least
Yeah.
two, I would say.
but yeah,
Uh,
That's
Yeah,
wild.
I couldn't believe it. It was like wall to wall.
When I saw No Hard Feelings, I would say like 20 people were maybe in there. But when I saw the Mario's movie, and that was like 3 weeks after it came out, I saw it on a Sunday night. I was like, no one's gonna be here. Like school tomorrow,
Right.
stuff for the kids and stuff. That place was packed.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
My
wild.
Mario movie was me and two other people. It's great.
That's my
Uh,
favorite. I saw
yeah.
Nope. I was at a conference in San Francisco and I cut out early on one of the days and saw Nope. I was the only guy in the theater. It was awesome.
Dude, that's nice.
Yeah,
I've
that's
been
sweet.
like that like once. But you brought up Mario, JD. I'm sorry, I cannot wait any longer. These are staring me in the face. I think I might have to do a live review, but I just got back from the store, got these Oreos.
Are they gold?
They're Super Mario. I don't know. I haven't cracked them open yet.
Well,
I,
you gotta crack one open.
I was
Now.
gonna
Let's
say
see
I
what
might have
it
to
is.
do a live review of them because
Yeah.
I'll give him a 0 out of
they're
10.
Super Mario they're Super Mario Oreos, and I mean they have to be limited edition. Oh, and like the flap is right on Yoshi, my favorite
Oh,
character.
it's like a tongue. It's like his tongue, or
Yeah, kinda. Oh no, his tongue's not out, but that would be cool. Cool
Yeah.
marketing. And so far they look like literally regular Oreos.
Oh, they're the exact same.
Double stuffed, maybe. But this part is like Toad.
Oh, that's kind
Like
of cool.
it has like Toad on it. But yeah, let's give it a taste test.
One bite, everyone knows the rules.
Mm-hmm. They're good. There's no doubt that they're good. But I think they're literally plain
The exact
Oreos.
same. Yeah, I was gonna
I'm
say.
pretty sure. But
It'd be cool if they were like the coin, like the coins were the wafers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought there was gonna be something crazy, or it was like cotton candy or something. Like I don't know, something.
God, candy.
Something different.
I don't know, something like kids would like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still pretty good, but
I don't like chocolate. This is not my thing.
I hope I'm not making you uncomfortable.
I might have
Um,
to go.
but I think they're like limited edition because at the store there was a sign that said like don't buy more than 5 or like limit your order to 5.
Jeez. Who is buying?
Who's getting fucking
Who's
15
buying
of
buying
these?
crates of
They're
Oreos?
reselling them. They're reselling them on the
Yeah, eBay
on
or
the
some shit.
eBay. Yeah. Pretty damn disappointed with these. Not gonna lie.
Damn.
I thought they'd be at least something different.
Something special.
Yeah. Or like maybe like one cookie's green, one's red, like Mario and Luigi's hats.
Yeah,
I don't know. Blue because they're overalls in the middle.
that's tough.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well,
Had a good shot.
yeah. Well, keep chowing down on that, Tom. Let us know if it gets any better.
No. Oh, it's so good. They're just plain Oreos.
Yeah.
Just a shame.
If anyone listened last week, besides just talking about movies we're hyped for, we also watched a movie, The Game, starring Michael Douglas, I believe.
Yeah.
But also we listened to 1995 Billboard hits because we are listening to one Billboard Top 100 every week. This week was 1995. I have some favorites picked out. JD, this was your movie pick, so why don't you start us off with your favorite song from 1995?
I will. It's actually like I feel like I say this every year. It's one of my favorite songs, like on one of my playlists. It's "Run Around" by Blues Traveler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know off the top of your head, but yeah,
Love
it's one
it.
of my
I do.
Oh
favorites.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
That's a
love
love
that
it
very
song.
too. That's a
Yeah.
great one.
And
Very
it's really
catchy.
catchy. It gets stuck in my head really
It's
easily.
very catchy.
Yeah.
That little I don't know if it's like a harmonica in there at some point or
Mhm.
Yeah, right off the top. like,
Awesome.
dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. Yeah.
Give
That's
me a
good.
run around.
Yeah.
Very
exactly.
That
good.
was definitely in my top for sure. I'll go next because I'm picking movie, I guess, next. My choice was Good by Better Than Ezra,
Ooh,
which
love that one.
I don't
Yep.
know if they are a one-hit wonder or not, but if they are, I mean, I kind of consider them that. If they aren't, I apologize if you're out there listening.
It might
I
be
just,
more like a one album hit or one album
yeah,
wonder.
not familiar with your game, but Good is a hell of a song. I love that song. So
Yeah.
that was
Good is
my
amazing.
choice. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, great choices. I mean, like you guys said, this album was or not this album, this year was pretty stacked. A lot of good choices. I went with one. It's amazing song. It's super catchy, like you guys said. First of the Month by Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
if you don't know it, I recommend it. Only slight on this song. It's super good, but they kind of put themselves in a box, with the first of the month. Everybody listens to it on the first of the month, but you feel weird if you listen to it on like the 13th, or the 21st. It's kind of like the Cupid Shuffle, It's a great song, but people feel like they have to listen to it only at weddings.
Yeah.
That's how this song is. Like people
Tom's
feel
got it
like
on
you
his
have to.
workout playlist.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Sounds it.
banger. But that's how first of the month is. It's amazing, but I feel like people only play it on the first day of the month. And we should just go ahead and change that because it's too good to
Played on the
rule
22nd.
out like 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ruling out like 95% of the days. So, um, but yeah, stacked year. I'm excited to keep going. So,
Yeah. It gets
95 was a good one.
from here on out, it seems like this is right up our alley, which makes sense since this is when we
This
were
is
born.
when,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so it should be a good one next week, 1996. And then, yeah, just kind of there on out, getting near the 2000s. It's going to get harder and harder to pick just one song. So,
Yeah.
looking forward to that. But yeah, feel free to listen along with us next week with 1996. And yeah, that brings us to the movie we just watched, which was The Game. It was JD's choice. So JD, if you want to give us a quick synopsis again and start off with your initial scores. We have a new graphic we're debuting here with our scores. So let us know what you think. But yeah, we're gonna try to do something similar to this, but go for it, Jay.
Yeah. So, synopsis thanks to IMDb. After a wealthy San Francisco banker is given an opportunity to participate in a mysterious game, his life is turned upside down as he begins to question if it might be a concealed conspiracy to destroy him. So, yeah, as it sounds, it is sort of a mysterious psycho thriller movie. I really liked it. I really like Sean Penn, which I'm starting to realize.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also like Michael Douglas, even though I mainly know him as Hank Pym, right? He plays Hank Pym. Yeah, but either way, uh, I really like this movie. I mean, yeah, I really like this movie. I feel like my score might change because how like kind of confusing it can be at times. Well, I don't know if confusing is the right word, but I gave it a 75, but I kind of liked it more than that, but I can't decide how I feel, but it's a 75 for me.
That's that's funny because I literally have okay, I'll just say that. Mine's a 74. But kind of the same thoughts as you because there's a lot I liked with this movie. There are eh, love the idea, the execution kind of loses me a bit, but overall, like I still highly recommend it. I think it was good. I like a lot of the stuff. To your point, Sean Penn, like he's someone I didn't really like either notice in a lot of movies previously or just like know what he was in, but I like him a lot, even though he's not like in this a whole lot. It's kind of mainly just Michael Douglas, which he's also like I think kind of underrated, but
I agree.
um yeah, I like it. I think I'm maybe a little harsh on it with my score, but I still like it. If that makes sense. But Tom, how about you? Round us out here.
Yeah, I was honestly, I feel like we're all kind of in the same boat on this movie. I'm a little bit higher, but I was definitely in the same ballpark as you guys for like 75% of the movie. Like I did not know how I felt about it. I think in like 70s, but then the end kind of blew my mind, honestly, and wrapped up pretty well. I give it an 83. So like JD's, like you were saying, JD, how your score could change. I feel like my score might be too high right now, but it's just like the kind of the rush of adrenaline made me bump it up. But I feel like there's just a lot to talk about in this movie. But yeah, after like a gut reaction after the initial watch was an 83. So I think we're all pretty close there.
Yeah, I think that average is a pretty good score for it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I don't know where you guys want to start with it. JD, did you have any beginning deeper thoughts since it was your movie?
Yeah, but a lot of it, like Tom kind of brought up, like the end is kind of insane. So like it's hard to talk about it without getting there because it all pretty much leads up to that. One thing I really liked about this movie though, and I was thinking when I watched it, is how fast it kind of starts. Like one of the very first scenes, he meets his brother Conrad. We already know it's like kind of, mysterious. And then almost like right after that, he goes like to the game makers, CRS or whatever. And it's like right away, like there's not a whole lot of build up to it. So that was one of the things I really liked. Um, and then it just gets intense for the next like hour and a half. But uh, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get to the end yet, but I would say the only thing I really didn't like, I'll just kind of like preface it, is like they kind of like had two storylines and you didn't know which one was which. Like you didn't know if it was real or if it was fake. And I kind of wish they would have made it seem like one or the other was stronger and then ended the other way. Or just
Mhm.
ended that way too. But I honestly was back and forth if I believed it or not. I don't know what you
Oh,
guys
I,
thought.
I
Oh,
was too for sure. I also think they kind of maybe this is intention. I don't want to like speak for them, but it seemed like they wanted to end it like three different times in
Yeah.
like three different ways, kind of thing. And like I kind of was preferring one way it was gonna end, or I thought it was gonna end over how it did end. Um, maybe that was like I mean it kind of let me down a little bit, just because like I think it would have just made for like a better movie and how it tied things up if it ended a different way. But yeah, it was kind of like just near the end, it was just kind of like just so back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, where it was like to your point, I wish it was just like leading up and then drop off in
Yeah.
one of the other directions kind of thing.
And I think that's pretty much exactly how I felt.
Yeah. What about you, Tom?
yeah. I think that's the exact same as you guys. I I don't know. I felt like to your point, JD, like for me, I felt like it started slow at like just in terms of like I thought Michael Douglas's performance was awesome, but like he showed like zero range for the first like hour and a half. Like not to his like his character was just very like static, just like
Yeah.
business guy, monotone, had no friends, no relationships, and then I mean, like his brother comes into it. You could tell there's obviously like something behind his story. He's like, he kind of had like some trouble in the past. And when he talked to the game, like this is what I expected it to be, like a wild, like mind fuck ride that like makes you a way better person afterwards. And you're like, oh wow, that was actually like the best experience and that changed my life. Like that's kind of what I expected. But then, like you guys said, it goes down this other route, and it's like, oh, that was so naive of me to think. Like, of course, it's just like some scam to get all his
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And then, and that's what I thought. And I was like, I know we're trying to avoid the end, but like when it gets to the very, very end, like the rooftop scene,
Hmm.
um, I was like, wow. I felt like they did a great job of like taking us all on that path of like, I 100% thought the game was not real.
Hmm.
And it looked like everything added up to it being like a con act. And then, when his brother comes out, like that whole sequence of like his brother coming out and him like, stepping off the roof. I thought that was just like insane. Like I thought that was I'm glad it ended up being like a happy ending. In terms of like ease of watching the movie, but I almost feel like the dark ending would have been a little bit more like intriguing, if that makes sense.
Yes. That's what I was
I
thinking.
100%
Yeah.
agree. And then it
Yeah.
would have also tied back in like a foreshadowing with his dad.
With his
Yeah,
dad.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
like
Exactly. And I was
Because they built that up the entire movie.
yes,
right. And
which
like
I
even
guess
talked with like his housemate about that. Like,
Yeah.
was I like him?
Elsa.
What was he like? Yeah. I was just like, if that would have been real, which I thought it 100% was, and like him killing his brother when like his brother was really just trying to help him, I was like, that would have been a mind fuck. Like,
yeah.
holy shit. If it just
Yeah.
ended like that, like if he just went through, people saw it was like this high powered businessman and then it was just over, that would have been nuts. But like the sappy side of me is like, oh yay, it was a happy ending. Him and his brother
Yeah.
get to be friends and everything. So
Yeah.
fine with that too. But sorry, Ryan, what were you saying?
No, I mean, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, I mean, I guess we're kind of at the end now.
Yeah, we're
So-
already
I
let
feel
it
like we might
loose.
as well peel the band-aid off.
Yeah. So I mean, well, I wanted to say like just the game, if it is real, which it seemed like a real, like it's kind of like a Broadway show in a way, because like they're actors and everything. Like I just thought the game itself, like I love the premise, like just like being like a mystery thriller. Love the genre. Just love that there's some kind of like wacky thing in there. So I love that. I love where it was going. If it did end, or if it, I was really liking it. I was probably like in the 80s, and then when it talked about him getting conned, like not that I didn't like it, but if that is what was going to happen, like if it was just like him, like them stealing the money thing, that was where it was like going downhill for me, and like I was like,
I
this
do
is just
agree
like
with
a
that.
Agree
TNT
with
kind of
that, too.
thing. But I like that there was more, and I don't want to disrespect TNT. They're great, and they actually do run some great movies. But it just kind of felt like same old, same old. Oh, we got to get the rich guy's money. But then when they got out of that, I loved it. But yeah, just to your point, Tom, like sure, it's nice to have like a happy ending and everything. I just think it would have, and you said it too, JD, just tie into the beginning, which I guess that was maybe like the misdirection. They're saying, oh, he's just like his dad, he's gonna do it like his dad, which he still did.
But
Like
the
he
thing is,
didn't
he
know it
did.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't know it was. And when he was falling down through the second breakaway glass, and then he like landed in that thing, I was like, oh, and
I
I was
have
like,
qualms with that, by the
yeah,
way.
like
Yeah.
I know it's breakaway glass, but that was still pretty freaking high. And
Oh yeah.
And the landing zone, I mean, like it was kind of big, but what, like 15 feet by 15 feet? He
yeah, what
jumped
if he
from
was
like,
just, yeah,
That's
what if
also
he was at the
true.
and,
corner of it or something,
yeah, and
or jumped in
even
the street?
Or jumped
and
in the other
and
direction.
he hit
Like,
like dead center. Like there's no
yeah,
chance. And I was thinking like maybe they moved it when they saw him falling, but there's tables all around it. Like there's no shot.
I do agree with that too. Like, and like his brother, like, I mean, I assume he had a bulletproof vest on, but like, what if he shot
Well,
like his head or whatever? Like,
I think they were just messing with him, and the gun was actually a blank or whatever.
see?
yeah, either that or
Yeah.
like rubber bullet or something.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
also,
But,
how that's another thing, because like he had that gun hidden in the book, To Kill a
Yeah.
Mockingbird. Like she's like, oh, we checked everywhere and everything, and I guess maybe they did check it, but like I feel like that's a hidden gun. Like I think that should have been missed, and like that should have been a real gun.
no, that's what I thought, and that's why I thought that he was wearing like a bulletproof vest or something.
I think they're pretty
Uh,
professionals at that.
No, I don't
think
think it
about
was. Like I think they still like found it and snuffed it out, but like
Because I was
Yeah.
thinking that too. Like, there's no way in hell
I feel
they
like
find it in a book.
They shouldn't have. Like
No.
See, I thought that too, but if you're gonna believe everything else they set up was done like professionally, because
Yeah,
they set up
that's
a
fair.
lot for this to go down. Like I'm thinking, like they can probably check a house pretty well.
yeah,
Because like the whole other, like I mean, I have qualms with this movie, and I'll start to talk about him right now. They drop him off in Mexico, and they just expect him to get back. And I'm sure they
Yeah.
greased a few people for the money and stuff, like to get him back. But like that whole thing was just wild to me. Like I feel like, and like I don't know, what if he went like insane and just like, well, I'm poor, broke, no girl, nothing. I'll just stay here.
yeah,
Like,
or just like offed himself
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
in
what
a
if he just
different
did it there?
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
And then also like I talked about, the landing zone was like easily could have been missed. What if he just like jumped off a different side of the building or something? Like, I don't know. I wasn't very happy with that part of it.
Yeah. No, it's true. And like, I was thinking about that too, where it's like, when it turned out to be like a con, or so I thought, it was like, oh, that makes so much sense, because it's like, who would just put on, like you guys said, this super elaborate game, like out of the
Yeah.
kindness of their heart, but gotcha,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they get paid a shit ton, but like whatever they paid wasn't 600 million or whatever he had access to. So it's like that, almost like that angle opened it up, and it's just like, yeah, who would run a business to just like super elaborate game where like so much could go wrong, like
Oh, yeah.
multiple people could die, like very believably. I mean,
Yeah.
almost were in this instance. Obviously that's part of the game, but like you said, JD, he gets dropped off in Mexico. I mean, what if he shoots one of the CRS employees? Obviously has like a gun at his house. Like, I mean, it's just
Or
a
what if he had a
wild,
knife or something? Like, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, or like they get in car chases, like just a wild, wild business plan. I mean,
yeah.
obviously it's not real, but like
Also,
the
no
fact
way
that they're
this would be
pulling this
legal,
off
right?
in all,
I was gonna
no, and
say that too.
and
Yeah.
they're doing
Like,
this
how are
in
they getting away
multiple
with it?
cities. Like,
Even if
yeah,
they have
it's
the blanks and the guns, like you still can't roll up on a neighborhood with like, you know, automatic weapons and just be like, oh, they're
right,
blanks. Like
right,
that would cause a panic.
Yeah, I feel
yeah.
like how did the law enforcement not intervene whatsoever? They're like, oh no, we got this, trust us. Like it's just a prank. Like there's no way they'd let that happen.
And I know you
That,
sign away your rights and stuff or like whatever, but like at the same time, like you could potentially have like trauma, PTSD, like it's so many things could happen from like these incidences, like to actually
yeah.
like alter your mind. Like someone would sue and
And
someone
he
would
just
probably win.
walks it, and he just walks it off at the end. He's like,
Oh, he
I
starts
got
smiles like
me.
you
Good
got me,
one.
Connie.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
I
It's
know.
like what? Like you were just about to kill yourself, and now you're
Yeah,
just like,
Uh,
all
yeah.
right, yeah,
Dude, you shot someone, offed
You
yourself.
shot your brother.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah, that too.
yeah.
Yeah, double
Uh,
Yeah,
homicide, just
it,
like in the span of 5 seconds, and then
yeah.
you're all right.
well,
I know it would be darker, but I kind of wish it did end that way.
Well, yeah, I just or like or if it if they still wanted to think it was a prank or not think it was like if it's still a prank, but to your point, Jay, like if he just goes off the other side of the building and then they're like, oh fuck, like we
Yeah, like what
messed
do you
up
do then?
or something
Yeah.
like that. Like I don't know. I didn't love how it wrapped up. You know what this reminded me of? Have you guys seen the Truman Show? Seen
Yeah.
that movie?
Hmm.
mhm.
This is kind of like the Truman Show to me, except that executed it so much better. Like that movie's in the
Flawlessly.
Yeah.
90s for me.
Yeah.
And like because it does kind of remind me like because they're actors and everything like that
Mhm.
obviously are except for Jim Carrey and kind of like this too and he's just like kind of living in their world and he doesn't know it's real uh kind of thing
Mhm.
and like I don't know I just I think love the premise and everything I just think the execution was a little off at the end and I think even I mean I don't know I haven't interviewed David Fincher but I wonder if he as he was writing it and like directing and everything, if he maybe wanted to end and that kind of like showed through how it actually did, like if he was like kind of going back and forth on it, that's just how it like went, came to me as I was consuming it, I guess. So
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
don't know.
I can see that too. Yeah, I can see that too. Definitely like I don't know about you guys. I mean, thinking back on it, I feel like the first like hour and a half or hour, whatever, 15, like I was just not really into this movie that much. And it kind of felt like a horror movie without like knowing it wasn't a horror movie. Like it was just very little creepy, like with the clown and everything. Like it was very
Yeah.
dark, like very dark settings. Like, um, you didn't know what was real and what wasn't, but really the end, I thought it got really exciting. Like honestly, from the point where, and I thought Michael Douglas was pretty awesome, showing a ton of range, and I thought his character was really
Like the
cool.
last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he decided to fight back and like be the aggressor, and be like when he showed up at like the zoo,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
funny.
and I was just like, you know what, like this guy was like, I don't know. I mean, he was obviously like a awesome at business and like investment banking, but other than that, he was kind of just like sleepwalking through life a little bit. Like he
Oh
just
yeah.
Yeah.
went to work and he like watched the news as like his
Yeah.
enjoyment and went to like expensive restaurants. But like then after everything happened, and I think that was why it was good that it was a fake con because it really hit home as like the number one thing that mattered to him, which was, like his wealth. And he had no money whatsoever and he had to, be resourceful and he had to find a way back and he had to kind of rely and trust on people. Like he kind of hitchhiked back from Mexico and got up to San Francisco. And I thought that part was really cool. And like when he was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm getting this money back. Um, and obviously he started to like give a shit about people too, which was like his big lesson, I feel like. But
Yeah.
um, that part I thought was pretty cool, especially like him and his brother. Obviously it kind of shows they had a little bit of like a rocky relationship. It seemed like there was some like baggage between those two of them. And like them getting to kind of experience this together, I feel like was going to be a huge jumping off point. Like I'm assuming they were super close after this.
And kind of going along with some of that, one of my favorite scenes, well, I don't know if it's my favorite scene, maybe a favorite moment is when he walks into that diner in like New Mexico or
Yes,
something.
dude.
He's like,
Yeah.
look, I got $18.78. Who's gonna bring me to San Francisco? And everyone's like, what
Mhm.
the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the only times in his life he was short on cash.
I
Like,
was
Yeah.
thinking that too. Like it was kind of this lesson of I don't know, maybe a lesson of like how to treat other people that don't have your level of money and can't get to these fancy clubs because he's
yeah,
like because in his head he knows who he is and he knows like how much power he used to have.
yeah,
But to all these people, he's just a guy with a number, which is like $18 or $20 or whatever it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
I
that part
think
was cool.
to your point, Tom, about the like just the brotherly relationship, I feel I don't know, I kind of wanted more of it because we didn't see like a whole lot, and I didn't, that punch at the end didn't really like get me like maybe they
mhm,
wanted it to. Um, but and then also he was kind of just like ready to run off with the one actress. I forget her name.
yeah.
Mhm.
She had like 4
Christina or
different
something.
ones. Yeah.
Christine, I think it was Christine.
Christine.
Yeah. So like to your point, yeah, like they should be closer, but he just kind of said, he got me," and then just like ran out the door. And like
Yeah,
I
went to
don't
the
know.
airport to have coffee with her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know. I just wish like maybe we saw like some more flashbacks or like something like that to like know a little bit more about what happened with them as like brothers, but because I feel like,
Yeah, I would
unless
like
I'm
that.
misremembering it, but it was kind of just that. Well, it was the obviously the dinner or the lunch scene
Lunch,
where
yeah,
to see
Hmm.
more butts than that was funny.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
and then he runs into him again when Connor's like in distress. I mean, obviously he's faking
Hmm.
it or whatever, but it was like, I guess they do kind of hash it out a little bit there, and you find out a little bit more. But I don't know. I kind of wanted more because it was pretty much just like a one man show for the most part, especially like you said, that first hour is just
yeah,
like kind of him, which I didn't like necessarily mind, but it was kind of slow.
yeah.
I thought
Before I
so.
get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say, and Tom brought up the clown earlier, and the clown had a camera in it or whatever. This movie got in my head a little bit. When I like went to bed, I like thinking about like, dang, what if these cameras are watching me? I'm like, I'm like
Hmm.
closing my laptop. I'm like hiding my like desktop computer and
Hmm.
everything. I'm like, no one's watching me tonight.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, yeah, that was when he did. I liked how they did when he was like watching the news or whatever, and then the way they
Oh
were
yeah.
Made
doing
it like
that,
talk
that
to
was
me.
real. Yeah, that's where I was like kind of hooked. I was like, okay, like this is up my alley and everything.
I would say that's the first thing that really caught my attention.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then then I thought it was going to turn into kind of like a Memento esque when he had those pictures of
Yeah,
him and the girl,
Yeah.
but he
Hmm.
didn't like remember anything. I was like, oh, like this might even go like deeper than I thought, but
I was
it
thinking that
it
too.
did go in like a different way. But I thought it was going to go like a whole other place. Like it was going to be more like all in his head type. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, something along those lines. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of pieces I like there. I just don't know if they like from beginning to end fit as well as they could have, I guess. Is my
Hmm.
overall summation, I guess.
I agree. And like kind of like what you're saying, like this movie could have like you said, there's like a lot of good pieces. This could have went like this movie could have went like 30 different ways, like at different
Hmm.
points in the movie.
Yeah,
And I still like the way it ended. I just think there's other ways it could have gone that I would have enjoyed more.
exactly. I mean, yeah, I 100% agree. Because like the
Uh,
foundation was there, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I think to your guys' point, I feel like this movie also could have been a lot worse. Like on the
Yeah,
flip side of that, like I think like I had this movie lower. Honestly, the ending shot this movie up for me by like probably 6 points or 4 or 5, at least like 5 points because um I don't know. It was still like not. I wasn't really like wasn't like gripping me really until like the last 20 minutes. When like the suspense really kind of built up when what the hell's his name? Nicholas.
Yeah.
Like when
Mr. Van Orden.
he's yeah, Mr. Nicholas Van Norden, when he's like taking it to CRS, like when he's the one that's like when he gets back from Mexico and everything goes down and it turns out to be a game and then like I thought that was I see what you guys are saying, but I still really like the ending.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
don't think
do.
it's wrong to like the ending.
Right, right. I do think that there are definitely some like variables there that are questionable, along with like the whole game premise. Like I just think it's like however many people they ran this game for, like the fact that there wasn't more like liabilities is
Yeah,
kind of impossible to believe.
Yeah.
That
I did take
people
off.
weren't like dying like there should be like 3 or 4 people that die every game if they're run similar to the way that his was.
Yeah, and I did take that. And I dropped a few points just because like I know it's a movie and everything, but for how unbelievable this is as a like a realistic thing, it's just it dropped a few points for me. Because like
Mhm,
obviously
Yeah.
this would never be legal or possible in like a real world scenario.
right. And this guy's not like dumb. Like he's like a
No,
investment banker and they pulled this off on him.
yeah,
Which I don't know. I mean, I do think it was I still liked it. I mean, it was definitely a movie I haven't seen before and I probably wouldn't have stumbled across. So I'm glad I watched it for sure.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Absolutely. And it's crazy that it's by David Fincher or directed by him,
Mhm,
because I was just looking at his other movies, which I think we did
they're
last
crazy.
yeah.
episode a little bit, but like of his notable ones, I would say this is the worst one, but at an average of 77, I know it's just between us, which is a small sample size, but like that's pretty good, I would say, because his other ones are just heaters. Seven, Fight
Mm,
Club, Zodiac, Social
Social Network.
Network,
Yeah,
Gone Girl, Mindhunter, which is just a show, which
which I love that show.
I
I wish it
love
would have
that
got
show. It
more.
got canceled for some reason,
Yeah,
but yeah, I
I was
mean,
gonna
like those
actually watch that
are
like a week ago.
insane. I
Mhm,
love all of those. Like those are very high movies for me.
Yeah,
same.
So
he doesn't get enough love.
yeah, I think yeah, because I mean, this was still early on. I mean, it seemed like the his first noticeable one or notable one was Seven in
Mhm,
1995.
Yeah,
Then this came out in 97, and then he just kind of cooked after that on his next
mhm.
ones.
let that man
So
cook.
yeah, it was yeah. I mean, he's got a good portfolio for sure. And I
Mhm.
do still think this is like a very solid movie, so
Yeah,
I would
Yeah,
definitely recommend it.
I agree.
yeah,
And
I would
glad
recommend
I
it.
watched it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Ryan, you brought up Memento earlier. I thought it was wild. JD, I know you always say the no small parts thing. Um, the I just watched Memento like a week or two ago and or rewatched it, I guess. But the guy, you remember when he was in the car chase? The guy from CRS was like chasing this guy,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Nicholas. Um, that guy, and they're around the same time frame, but that guy was in Memento. He was like the motel clerk.
Oh,
Um, yeah, which I honestly never in a million years would have picked that out if I hadn't just watched Memento.
yeah. I didn't
Uh,
catch that.
I
mhm,
didn't catch that either.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty. It was definitely a small find, but I thought that was kind of wild. I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, it makes sense. These are both. Memento came out in 2000, so
That
around the same time.
that guy's also in Fast and Furious. Well, Too Fast and Too Furious. He's like a crooked
Mm.
detective. I gotta get
Of
back
course,
to. You know, I gotta bring him back in.
yeah, I know. There's gonna be
Uh-huh.
so many crooked detectives in that franchise. It's insane.
Yep.
Mm.
I can imagine there's quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's yeah, I think that kind
Uh,
of sums it up pretty well.
yeah.
As far
Hmm.
as on the list, I know it was like 77 range. Where does that put it, JD, in terms of
Uh,
other movies?
Puts it at 301. Well, technically 302 on the list, but 301 out of the movies, and it's in between Edge of Tomorrow and Yes Man. Which Edge of Tomorrow, I
Interesting.
believe we did not too long ago.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was one of
A
our
couple weeks
first
ago.
ones.
I
Couple
would
Yep.
say,
and that was like 2 months
It's
ago.
hilarious that that's higher.
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that's pretty good company. I mean, Yes Man gets a little bump from Tommy's score,
Yeah.
but
When I first started rating these, I was going pretty high. Now I've
yeah,
gotten a lot more stingy
I
for
will
sure.
say, yeah, when we started out, your scores were always high.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you had to like
Yeah.
really suck to be in like the 70s. Now I'm like, fuck, that's a 74.
Yeah.
That's like actually a good movie.
Uh,
Yeah, I definitely have kind of tried to retool those a little bit, but
Uh,
yeah. Yes Man is great though. I'm not bashing
no,
it
no,
by
yeah.
any
no,
means.
not a
Incredible
bad
movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yeah,
Uh,
pretty
but
good
yeah,
company.
I think that I think that does it for the game. I think yeah, we would all recommend it for sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just feel like at least for us, it was one that kind of got lost.
I feel like the
Uh,
90s was actually a golden age of
was-
movies. I would watch every
it's
movie
yeah,
from the 90s.
Dude, I love
it
them.
was great.
Before CGI was too big, so like they didn't just try to make everything like
Yeah,
super fan fiction.
Yeah, I feel like there's a greater emphasis on like the writing and the acting because there's,
Yeah.
you know, you got to really like Memento's a great example of like, damn, that will blow your fucking mind. Like
oh yeah,
And
writing
it was
wise.
also before like franchises were like as big as they're like obviously franchises still existed, but like one-off movies were like extremely popular. Like even Jurassic Park, I think was supposed to be a one-off movie, and they're like, dude, people love this movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. I mean, you got a lot of like best movies like of all time with like Forrest Gump,
Pulp Fiction.
Shawshank,
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Ryan mentioned Seven. Like that's honestly one of my favorite movies
I
ever.
love Seven.
Great
Um,
movie.
yeah, that's 95. Like, yeah, there's some good ones. Maybe we'll transition our trends from 2014 and 2013 only to 1990s movies.
Yeah. Well, not quite, I
No,
guess, because
not
it's
so
my
fast.
yeah, it's my pick for next week, and that's gonna be a 2017 movie, so a new year for us, I believe.
I think so.
Um, I picked this movie because it's just one I've always wanted to see, and I just never ended up seeing it. But it is kind of topical because it is a Christopher Nolan movie with Oppenheimer coming out, so maybe it's a little precursor to that. But it's Dunkirk. It's
Oh, yeah.
on Netflix and Max. So pick your preference there. Quick synopsis for people that haven't heard of it for some reason. Allied soldiers from Belgium, the British Commonwealth and Empire, and France, surrounded by the German army and evacuated during a fierce battle in World War II. So,
I like it.
yeah, I think you guys have actually both seen it already, but hopefully it's been a little while. It came out 6 years ago, so
Wow, that's crazy.
it is crazy. So yeah, everyone, if you want to follow along, give that a watch. Yeah, excited for it. It's got great ratings, so should be a good one, hopefully.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out. Haven't seen it since.
Yeah,
Pretty excited to see it again.
Sweet.
yeah,
Yeah.
exact same. Saw it in theaters. Haven't seen it since. Would love. This is like a perfect time for a rewatch. I feel like,
Yeah.
because I don't remember that much of it, so I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll do that next week in 1996 for Billboard hits. You guys watching anything else? I told you guys before the pod I'm trying to watch some Mission Impossible movies, catch up for the new one that comes out this week. I've only watched 2 so far, but apparently they get pretty good. So excited about that. I also did watch The Bear because I know we talked about that.
Oh yeah,
I
heard
just
that's
watched
good.
the first season, which it is actually really good. I like it. So I watched that, and I think off and on here watching Suits. If you guys have ever seen that, I watched that a
Heard of it.
while ago. Never finished it all the way through, so I watched it. It's a pretty good show. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I keep seeing it on Netflix most watched. I've been thinking about starting it.
I'd give it a start. Like it's a good first episode. Like gets you hooked in. It is one of the. I think it was on like USA or
USA
That
sounds
sounds
right.
familiar.
something like that, to where like it is kind of cheesy in spots. It's like, how are they going to get out of this one? And they
They
get out
do
of it.
every time.
They always do.
But it is like very charming and stuff too, and the characters are great. So I recommend it. It's a fun watch. You don't have to really pay attention too much, but that's about it for me. How about you guys?
I haven't really been watching much in the show department. I did see No Hard Feelings this week, or this weekend. JD, I know you saw it. I was pleasantly surprised. I really liked
Same.
it a lot. So I won't go too far into it since Ryan hasn't seen it. But yeah, I really liked it. And then I got my tickets for Oppenheimer. So seeing it that Friday, the 21st. So I'm pretty hyped. That's like a little over a week away. So that's about it. JD, what about you?
I mean, I would say no hard feelings. Like pleasantly surprised is a great way to put it. I know I mentioned the Barry last week. Haven't started it yet. I've been considering starting Suit, so apparently I'm just following Ryan. But I did see the new Guardians of the Galaxy. Was that like 2 or 3 nights ago?
Is that on
Um,
streaming now?
No, I bought it on
Oh,
Amazon.
got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Made some
We're
money playing
technical.
blackjack, so it just took my $20 and bought it on Amazon.
There you go.
But yeah, I liked it. Not to get too far into that. I liked the first one the most, and then the third one, and then the second one if I'm ranking the Guardians.
I think that's probably what I would
Okay.
fall because I love the first,
The
like the
first one was
second.
great. Yeah. Not
And
that I didn't like the second, it's just like if I had to rank the three.
yeah,
comes
yeah.
to-
It seemed like a lot of people really like the third, so
Yeah. Yeah.
makes sense.
That's about it for me.
Cool. Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know if we've officially announced it, but since Oppenheimer does come out next weekend, I think that might be
Oh
our
yeah.
squad watch.
Well, would that be
That'd be 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, so after
doesn't it come out next
Dunkirk.
weekend?
After Dunkirk.
Yeah,
Well,
we'll do
yeah, after
Dunkirk and then
Dunkirk,
we'll
yeah,
have
yeah,
yeah,
squad
yeah, yeah,
watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, so watch
Um,
Dunkirk. And then I think we'll have that as like our assignment, so everyone can get out to the theater.
Get your
Uh,
tickets early, because like we said, this is hot in the streets.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be. It's a pretty big release. I mean,
Pretty big
I know
deal.
I know Barbie's like a joke kind of, but I think people are gonna be going
I th-
nuts for that too. So
I don't
Yeah.
get it. I think it's getting more hype than Oppenheimer, and I don't get it.
I
Dude,
think they're just kind of going both together, and like people are
Yeah.
making jokes like, yeah, see them both in the same day, kind of taking
Yeah.
Tom and George's
yeah,
Yeah.
invention,
double
but
header approach.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're both gonna like do very well in the box office. So
I
Dude,
agree.
it's funny. I saw this thing on Twitter. It was like or Instagram or somewhere, but it was like an election map, and it was like, do you live in an Oppenheimer or a Barbie state? And it literally it had like like a brown colored state for Oppenheimer and like pink for Barbie. It was
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I agree. Like I honestly never crossed my mind to see Barbie. Like when it started coming out, I was like, there's no way in
That's
hell
how
I
I
see
was.
that. But the more hype that builds, I might end up having to see
I
it.
think I'm
So,
gonna see it, but not before Oppenheimer.
oh God, no. It's probably one of
Yeah,
those I'll
no.
see, kind of like No Hard Feelings. Like No Hard Feelings is definitely not like on my list, but I didn't have any plans on like a Saturday. I'm like, I'll see a movie, and
Yeah.
it's one of those like it's playing. I'll go see it. That's probably how I'll be with Barbie. Like if I'm not doing anything, I want to see a movie. And I've seen Oppenheimer already. Yeah, maybe I'll go check it out, but I'm not gonna like cancel plans for it.
That's how I am.
Yeah.
And like I love going to the movies, but I'm gonna see Oppenheimer, and so I kind of wait for the reviews to come out. If it's getting pretty high reviewed, then I'll probably go see it. But if it's like, kind of in the 70 to 80 range, I'll be, I'll wait till it's on the streaming service or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
I think that's a good plan actually.
Yeah, and I know it's not out yet, but I can already tell you that Cillian Murphy is just the perfect Oppenheimer.
That's your man.
Yeah.
I love him, dude. He's like already, even the trailers, my God, this movie's so good just because of him. And then
Yeah.
Matt Damon's in there. We got Emily Blunt, who
Robert
we
Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in like anything since
He's
Iron
not.
Man's.
He's really
Um,
not in anything.
But yeah, Emily Blunt from Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Full circle.
full circle. It's Gary
They know we're
Oldman, who I
watching.
love. Florence Pugh's in it. Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well,
Make this
yeah.
pretty
So I
good.
guess we're kind of jumping the gun a little bit. I know
Yeah.
that's kind of my fault I brought it up, but before that, we're watching Dunkirk, listening to 1996 for this next week. But yeah, I think that does it.
I think it
So
does.
yeah, keep following along with us. We'll be back next week, and yeah, excited to talk about Dunkirk.
See
Excited.
you